So I've just finished taking the pictures, and I like to follow that up with a video. I find that, you can doctor pictures, but you can't really doctor videos, not at my level. Anyway, I like to give the car a little walk around, just so you get to see reflections in the paint. And this is actually not the most reflective paint. I mean, it's gorgeous, no doubt, but it's this is actually single stage paint, so there's no base coat, clear coat. So the big difference is you get a lot of color. The color really pops, especially in this kind of pastel colors. But you don't get as much depth as you get with a car that has base coat, clear coat. That is, in a sense, it's closer to a mirror when you have the clear coat on it, while this is a little bit not quite as deep. You see the reflection, it's definitely there, but like it's just not quite as deep, so to speak. But you do get, like, this is why when you put one of these cars next to anything else pretty much that is out there, they kind of pop, not only because of the color combo, but because of just the way they're painted is just different. Anyway, couple things I wanted to point out. I took pictures of everything, but I recently, and I mean like a week ago, replaced the entire carpet. That is black. The original carpet is actually, and I apologize for the mess, but this is the workplace. This is the original carpet color. As you can see, it was discolored and just tired, and I just liked, and you can very well get that if you want. It's not, there's no rips or anything. It's just that I really like the contrast between the blackness of the paint, of the dashboard and the floor, and the, believe it or not, original seat covers. These, I cleaned them and they came out beautiful. There is a minor blemish on the passenger side. It can be repaired. I didn't mess with it. That's up to you. I don't know if you see it right there. That's, yeah, that's how you see it. Couple other things to note. The bag, it's something I bought in Italy when I went there to pick up this car. Feel free to replace it. But a couple things to note, going back to what I wanted to show you. The original tag, front and back, are present. They have been somewhat repaired because they were plastic, believe it or not. So you can see that they kind of filled them out in with a little bit of, I'm guessing, silicone, and then kind of like painted it over. But they go along with the, again, I apologize. This might not look super professional because you see all my little camera and stuff, but you get to see it all in one shot, which I like in a sense to see for authenticity. Anyway, as I said, this is a I didn't say it, but you see it in the description. This is a one-owner car, okay? That's why I bought it. And it has the original tags, front and back. You see it right there, boom. And the original libretto. And not only that, but we'll get to that later, but the libretto is interesting because it does carry the name of the gentleman that I bought it from, Mr. Luigi Perrone. He's still alive. I can actually put you in touch with the gentleman. You have to talk to him through his son, though, because he doesn't speak English. However, this is 4th of June 1970, and this is something that normally is lost when you take a car out of Italy. Which it was, and then the gentleman found it and then sent it to me. Otherwise, the Italian, let's call it the DMV, would have taken this and destroyed this, along with the tags. So they had taken them off the car at some point. This is the foglio complementare, which would have been kind of like when you first bought the car, before you got your own libretto with your name in it. And this libretto also carries the... what do you call them in English? The inspections that the car did when it had to, and the property taxes that it had to pay. It started 7,150 lira, so that was about $3.50. Okay, and long story short, this is what proves what the car has done as far as owners, because if it would have had more owners, they would have been recorded here. All there is, here it says the Perrone Luigi, so the first owner, he moved from Cuneo to Asti. Okay, so the two places very close to each other in Italy. Anyway, And also the car comes with its original pouch that carries, you can see it there, Fiat, that carries the, and you've seen the pictures probably, the owner's manual and the suggestions to the user's manual, which is kind of like how to drive the car, how to keep it up, how to, merge on the highway, cool kind of like trivia. Along with those, another piece that is interesting as far as the history of the car is the key fob. Okay, let's go back there just so we have something to show it. So this is the original key fob, he told me, from when he bought the car. It's not a Fiat one, but it's just a key fob that he bought at the time. It's in leather that has become basically hard, but it's not brittle. It's actually in good shape. And these are the door key, the ignition key, a spare door key, and this, which is kind of cool. He told me he bought this car directly from Fiat. So because he lived close to Turin, where Fiats were made, or are made at times, he went to the direct center of sales. So basically he went to Fiat directly and ordered this car. He told me this was the very first car he bought new, and it always sat in his garage. For whatever reason, we're not getting focus. Okay. So I don't know, just super sweet gentleman. He did not drive the car for the last 10 years because he told me that he had done something. He was a mechanic on top of it. He had done something and it didn't start, and then his health started deteriorating, and so he basically just put it in his garage, covered it. I have pictures of it all, and eventually I came around. I took it to a local mechanic that had restored a bunch of Fiats that I use fairly often. I got it running, filters. You'll see the list of the things that have been done to it. But she's great. She's a gorgeous color, and I'm trying to get to the. You might notice that this part here is a little rusty. They all do. That gets really hot. Doesn't matter what you paint it with. You can make it look good, like you can paint it, some gray or whatever that it's supposedly good at keeping up with heat. It doesn't. So if you see a car that has that part that is not, kind of like rusted out from heat, it's going to. Or it just means it hasn't been driven since it's been restored. Speaking of which, this car has a grand total of 5 kilometers on the clock since the full restoration. Which was done, however, quite a while ago, in the sense that the car sat for years after he had it restored, because, as I said, his health turned a little bit worse, and eventually he bought a little bit more of a modern car. A couple other things to note are that this car was actually the very first production car to have the courtesy light. Now the battery's disconnected, so you're not going to see it, but the courtesy light is actually inbuilt in the rear view mirror. Kind of a cool piece of trivia. This is the reproduction of the break-in information and operation of the roof while we're in it. Boop, that's it. So when you open it like this from the inside, you really open just about half of the roof. You get that. Okay, and if you just do this with your hand, pull this little guy back, there you go. You get the whole opening. Okay, you get a little bit more light. Just a quick pan and scan. Little visors. Everything's so tiny and cute. And although, actually, good point is everything is tiny and cute, but I am 6'4", and provided I go in with my leg first, I fit. I probably wouldn't want to drive cross country with it, but I fit just fine. Car is finished very beautifully. It is, I wouldn't call it a number 1 car, but she is definitely a quality. Oop, I see a little dirt. Hold on. She is as good as it gets as far as drivers go. The white walls, they are actually inserts. If you don't like them, you just take them off, right? They are actually not technically correct for this year model, but I think they look so good that I don't give proverbial. That luggage rack is also not stock. It's something I added to the car just because I think it looks great on it. There were definitely luggage racks at the time, just not this kind. This kind is made today. What else? I think that's about it. Top speed, anything between 55 and 60 miles an hour. Takes a hot second to get there. So not the best highway driving car, but it is something very unique. You know, you take this to any car show, you're going to be the only one with it. And it's just a darling of a little car. Everybody wants to know what it is. Everybody wants to talk about it. It's kind of that kind of car. And it's great in the city. Like if you're not gonna win any races. But she is great in traffic and easy to drive. 4-speed manual, air-cooled motor. It's in a sense, it's a very similar layout to a Volkswagen Beetle, including the heating. The heating system is forced air from air that cools the engine. All the parts are readily available in the US. It's just a matter of ordering it online. So if you want to replace anything on the car, add whatever, easy peasy. It's not like an exotic thing that you have to wait weeks for. Speaking of which, said parts are extremely inexpensive. And I mean, the bumper's like $40 a piece. This car, good point, has the original bumpers on it. So while they are not 100% perfect, they are of a thicker gauge of what you can get today. So, you know, they might not be perfect, but they are 47 years old, still kicking. That is compliments of a car that has always sat in a garage and has been pampered. Again, this gentleman had the car until last year, and this is the first car he bought brand new. So he treated her accordingly. Last but not least, before I forget, that is the original color roof. I bought, before I forget, if I find it, boom. I also bought a replacement one, which is, I liked it, but all my friends that I kind of always ping before I do stuff, they told me that the black one was better, but you can have it with the car if you want it. This one, imagine it being that color, and actually has a transparent insert. So when it's closed, you have kind of like an let's call it a sunroof. I really like this color. I like the color combo. Up to you. I'm happy to give it to you. It's a $100 piece, and it's literally it's just a matter of bolting it into place, and it's kind of like a t-shirt. It kind of like just slides into place. Nothing difficult about installing it. And I guess that's it. I hope you guys like the car as much as I do. She is gorgeous. One of the last ones before they veered onto more, let's call them modern colors. And she's in great shape.